Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be back on this '06 Buick Rendezvous. So as you see, if you've watched the last video, fuel line, we got it running, got it driving. Now we just got to get it stopping. So the goal today is to replace all the brake lines because they're crusty and there's some unions that's rusting from where they fixed them before. So I've got a set of stainless steel brake lines, a full set. So let's go ahead and get them unpackaged and look at what we got. Alright, so these came from the company Lines to Go. It's a full stainless steel kit. So you see you've got all your ABS lines and that'll go into the module up front. And of course all the ones going to the fronts and the sides. So this was a real good deal. Picked these up for $200. As far as right now, the quality and everything looks fine. They've put all their unions and stuff together where you're going to be tying them in. So my goal is we'll start on the rear and work our way forward. So there should just be the two lines out to the side, the main line coming back, and then of course we'll work with all the splits up front. Let's go ahead and get under and get started removing. Okay, so we're gonna start on this driver's side. So you see this is the driver's side rear brake line. It goes into your connection there, runs along the frame, and goes up to a union here where you can see that it's been leaking and spraying fluid out. So what I'm going to do is just take a set of cutters and I'm going to cut right above the fittings right there. I'm actually going to cut this one right here and remove this line out of all these clip holders. So you can see it's been hit here, it's rusting. So we're going to get this replaced so the next owner don't have any problems with the brake lines. Let's go ahead and get that one cut out and we'll look and see how well it matches up to the one that I ordered. So as I was removing the brake line, it's got these plugs coming out to the bottom going to the gas tank, and I see that at some point something has hit this and really frayed one line and broke this white line altogether. So what I'm going to have to do is cut this back and do a little bit of repair and get it seamed back up. I think it might be one of my engine light issues. So we'll get that taken care of. But I've got the line off. So let's pull it out here. Turn it around. So like I said, I cut it at the joints and it lines up perfectly. So now the next step is to go under, and I want to get this front line off and make sure that I've got it. So it looks like it's going up under the hood. So we're going to have to get up and go under the hood and check out what is happening there. But this looks to be like a 10 millimeter, so I've got it soaking in some rust resolver. Get it loose and see if we can find this next line. Alright, so you come up to the distribution block, and as you can see, all of them are coming out of the ABS module. So you got those two flex lines that go straight into here, suppliers. One here, one there for your front brake circuit and your rear brake circuit. And then you got the two coming out of the back of the ABS module, and then these two coming out, and all of them are going down and sprouting out from underneath the car. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and took the 9/16 line wrench, broke all these free. I'm going to go ahead and take them apart because really we're going to have to put them in order working our way back out. So we're going to start with these rear ones connecting first, and then start doing these top ones to work our way out so all these lines aren't in our way. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these broke loose and removed, and we'll go from there. Alright, change of events here. So because these lines all the way up through to the top of the master cylinder has these holders on it that basically are just their line separated. You can see I've got them scattered. So those are a colossal bitch, and they hold onto the lines very well. So you can't get the line out. So what I ended up having to do was just going ahead and cutting the rest of the lines apart. So this front line here broke into a couple pieces where it was bad rusted. Then we went over here to this other side. So here's the line that runs across. This big line here with the heat insulator on it where it goes by the pipe. And then of course I got the other line here. It's hanging out from under the vehicle. I haven't removed it yet. And then there's the two that went up by the master cylinder that connected it into here.
So now with that being said, all the lines are off right now, and I'm actually going to end up working the other way. So I need to install the lines up top here first, like I said, because they were tough to get to. So I'm going to play around here and see. Obviously I know I got to get these two back ones first. So I'm going to get started getting working on those, and I will detail out which one of these ports goes where. This is the insulation piece that goes across this portion of the line to keep it from the exhaust getting it hot. So the foil tape I was around it was old and falling off. So I keep cool tape around a lot of the time with messing with these old cars. So I'm gonna go ahead, put that on the line and rewrap it, and then I'll get it routed across the front there to the passenger side. So this line here actually hooks up inside there, and I'll show you here in a minute, and goes to the back of the car. So let's get it wrapped, and then I'll get it worked up in there and show you where it's going to connect. All right, so with some patience, I got it worked up in there. I did work it from the bottom. So I started it in on this right side, up under this, came up through, and just kind of took my time. You can see it still up through there. It's that silver line right there. It's going around the steering shaft. So it's all the way up there up top. I'll show you in a minute. But there's where your insulation will go. I got to adjust a little bit. But I left all this loose so I could connect this back line and tighten the fittings down here where I'm looking at them. Because when I push this up in there, it's going to be way up in there. So getting to it's going to be tough. So you make sure you want to get that as tight as you can. So you hopefully won't have to deal with a leak once you start putting the fluid to it. Now with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get this up in, get it in all these holders, and then go back there and connect this front line and rear line together. I want to note that to tighten those union fittings up, you're going to need a 12 millimeter and a 13 millimeter. 13 millimeter for the union, 12 millimeter for the flange nut. All right, so I went ahead and got these back two in. Like I said, we're going to start from the back. So this is your driver's side front caliper, and then this part right here is going to be that goes to the right rear. So that's those two connections, front left, right rear. So now we're going to come back out and we're going to do the rest of these connections. So we know this one is going to go here, and this one is your left rear, so driver's side rear. Then we know these back two are the master cylinders. So as you can see, I've got them kind of pre-staged. So these here, we're gonna go ahead, these go over top of the front ones, like so. But here's the thing, lines to go actually gypped me this front line. They sent me a double right there of the passenger side rear lines that hooked up here. That one right back there. They sent me a double one of those. So other than just tightening all the connections that I got and going ahead and maybe setting these up, because this guy, he just goes right back here to the rear. It's got that's why it has the flex portion to it. You see it's going to swing around and hook up like so. And then this one goes over top of these other two. So I don't really know if I'll be able to hook that up without having the other one in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook this one up, tighten it down, tighten this one down, and I'll show you what it's gonna look like until I get this other line. Alright guys, so there's my Tycon soldering connections that I always talk about using. So I've got those two wires connected together and sealed up. I'm just gonna put the heat shrink over them, and then I'll put the conduit back, put the dielectric grease on these connections. And then here, I tightened down this connection. So this was a 14 and a 12. And of course back up there's the same before. It was a 12 and a 13. So I tightened them up the best I can. Of course, you know, once we get that our lining installed, we'll go back and double check. But I'll finish this job up, show you what it looks like, and then go back up top, show you what that finally looked like, and talk about where we're at. All right, so there it is finished. The conduit on, electrical tape around it on the ends, and connections are greased. I'm gonna look up top where this goes in, because I can see it has a rivet here and it's missing the one here that's holding it tight. So I'm gonna look up there and see what it's out. If anything, I'll probably just run a self-tapping screw down and hold this back down. But that is it for under here. Let me show you up top. I went ahead and tightened this one down. So this is the one we're missing right here. And then of course this back one is this guy that goes to the master cylinder here. So all these connections are tight, minus those two. So I've already contacted the company, but they're in Canada and they are closed for the weekend. Well, we're at a good stopping point with the brakes and getting that line, those wires fixed. So let's give it a couple of days. All right, guys. So it's been about a week since I said let's give it a couple of days, and the new line came in. So I worked with Lines to Go, and they figured out which one they messed up on, and they sent me the new one. So remember from last time, we basically got them all ran except for this one. So what I'm going to do now is take it loose from the passenger side wheel, because this connection is way up in there. So we're going to make this connection first up underneath the vehicle, and then put it all back together and bolt it in. All the lines are hooked up now. So the short one that I showed you before, it hooks up here, and then below is your connection. So I'll get down there and show you the whole lines and how everything's run here in a minute. But right now I've got everything tightened up. We'll go ahead and fill this master cylinder full, and then crack all the bleeders and let them gravity bleed while I do some cleanup. And then once that's gravity bled for a bit, I'll get everything hooked up and get my code scanner hooked up so we can do the ABS module bleed, and in turn at the same time that will do the brake bleed itself. So get some fluid, get that in there, crack those bleeders, and then I'll show you how the lines run under there. And at the same time I'll go back and I'll clip the line holders on back here that held everything together. Gravity bleed is going pretty good. I filtered it up once already, so I don't see any leaks here. I went ahead and tried my best, if you can see it down in there, to get those line separators back on. Because of how the bends are a little bit different, I couldn't get them all on. I got 2 out of the 3 on. And the reason because of that is where the unions go. So one thing I want to point out on this whole system, it is collar coordinated. So you'll see the passenger side that goes to the rear is your yellow lines. Your driver's side, you see it go up and over, that's the long line that I just got in, and it comes over, connects right up there. You'll see it is red collar coordinated on both lines. The driver's side going to the rear is blue, so it goes down and then connects green to green. So real easy kit to set up. Pretty impressed with it. They did short me on that one line, but customer service was great, and they got me taken back care of. So right now, like I said, I've got all these bleeders open, and just let them gravity bleed. You can see it dripping down the tire. Next thing I got to do is go get my scan tool, hook up to it, and go ahead and get everything ready to bleed the ABS. So typically you'll need the scan tool to do that. You can also do it with the vehicle running, but you just got to make sure it's all chalked up, and the person helping you is competent and know what they're doing, so you don't get ran over. But let's go ahead and get this scan tool going and see if I can't get my helper out here to help me finish this job up. All right, show you this process here. I've got this launch scan tool. I actually picked it up from a garage here locally that was upgrading. I got a real good deal on it for 300 bucks. But right now I've just got the key on the on position, and it's connecting through my OBD2 plug. You see it's connected to the VCI, which is this, and then it read the VIN. So here it already picked up all my information. So I'm just going to hit diagnose. And what it's going to do is it's going into the history of the vehicle right now. And it's pulling codes that's in there before, so I'm going to have quite a few of them. Where I had that wiring issue that I showed earlier in the video that was causing me some problems. And I was throwing every brake code there was. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a system selection. And we're going to do the air conditioning, the automatic. We'll let it run through that system automatically rather than going through manually. So what we're going to do here is, so you see this is all the options that you have to go through to run systems dynamically. So if I go to like powertrain and then actuation test, here's everything that I can go through powertrain wise and do actuations on. So obviously I don't need any of that. We're going back, body control module, actuation test, and then we're going to do, see, you can even program new key fobs. Output controls, you see everything here, that's for modifying door locks, and then you can set your options here. Go on back. So this thing's pretty neat. If you work on vehicles all the time, I suggest getting one. But you see automated bleed. To perform the bleed procedure, connect the required brake bleed equipment, raise and support the vehicle, inspect the battery state of charge, turn the ignition on, but the engine's off. So you can see this is a procedure I'm going to go through. I can hear the pump working, but we're going to go ahead and end this session because I have to have my assistant out here pumping the brake for me while that pump's going through. But that is the process, is how it go. I'm going to do this on all four wheels. It'll walk you right through it, and then come back and we'll see if we have any pedal. All right, so there she is off the ramps. I done the ABS bleed, ran a whole quart of fluid through it. It was putting out clean fluid, so it looked good. Got a piece of cardboard under it, just checking to see if there's any leaks up front. It looked like I had maybe a suspect one there around the master cylinder, but couldn't really find anything after that. Took it around, it had pretty good brakes. Of course, we know the rotors were rusted up really bad, as you can tell. So I just had to drive it, and I'll probably end up maybe bleeding it one more time, just to make for sure after all the systems been worked, because it hasn't been actuated in at least 5 years. So that's everything on the Buick 2006 Buick Rendezvous stainless steel brake line install. So if you have any questions, hit them down below. But please subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, Mustang Jackson 67. Follow, like, tag, share, everything. Let's build this channel. But until next time, let's keep building.